In the mornings, before we entered the classrooms, Mr. O.W. Dillon had us to line up, and he would talk with us every morning. And if anybody was talking in any of the lines, they did not get to go into the building. They had to stand out there in the sun until they felt like they were ready to enter the building. The procedure for going into the building, there was a young lady would play music for us to march into our respective classrooms. And then later on, Mrs. Parker played the piano for us to march into the building.
What were some of the things that he would talk about in the morning before you go to class?
In the morning, just how to, everything, everyday things of life that were important to us, being good citizens and all. Very informative talk that he would do. But again, he was a very firm disciplinarian. And I can appreciate him for that. The teachers, they were all well-educated teachers, and they were all nice. They took us as if we were their own children. And that meant that the way I felt like the school was like a home away from home with the way my teachers reacted toward us. I'm going to mention Mr. A.L. Thornton in particular, was our social studies teacher. Mr. Thornton was an all-around teacher. He didn't only teach us the social studies work, but he teaches how to take care of ourselves. It was just really touching. Every now and then we refer to Mr. A.L. Thornton as to what he did.
O.W. Dillon was a special school for us all because it was the black school where all the black students in our area, in the Spring Creek, Chesbro, Sumner area, Kentwood area, all of the black students came to O.W. Dillon because there was the only black school in the area on the north end of the parish. So we all attended, and which was fortunate for us because we got to know all of the black children as friends and classmates. I was a basketball player, and I have to say I was pretty good at basketball. I ran track, I played softball. I was an athlete. I was the tallest girl on the campus, even as a 7th grader. So I grew to be very tall. Moving here in 1965, of course, by me being so tall, they thought I automatically knew a lot about basketball. And I knew some about basketball and about being an athlete, but then I was 7th grade, so I was still really just being trained. But they worked with me so well until they put me on the high school team as a 7th grader.
But I did graduate in the year of 1966. It was a beautiful experience. Of course, it was the only school that I knew. I walked there from 1st grade through 12th grade the whole while. I walked to school every day. And it was just a joy. You know, everything was so laid back. The teachers took an interest in the students. They didn't mind paddling us. You know, the parent didn't get angry about, us being paddled or being chastised. They would come to your house and check on you and see how you were doing. Your parent were welcome to come to the school and do visits and talk to the principal. My daddy always worked out of state, so he would always make an effort to get to the school to talk to the principal and the teachers to see how we were doing in school. I didn't know anything about integration, but I was a band student, and we'd walk home from band practice every day, and the white kids would pass by and laugh at us and throw rocks and just tease us, but I never had an opportunity to integrate in a school session with them.
Who was the principal when you was there?
Mr. Tennis, College Temple,
And you graduated what year?
1969.
What was your experience like at O.W. Dillon?
Great. I missed the football. We had football. We always did have a good football team. Always.
Was you on one of the teams there?
Yeah, I was on the team. Me and my brother both.
Where'd you play?
I played offensive end and defensive end. And my brother, they call him Mudcat. He should have went to pro, him. Really, he should have went to pro. Yeah, he was known all over the state. They call him, he was one of the dirtiest players in Louisiana, though. Mudcat, that's what they call him. They still call him that right now. But O.W. Dillon was a nice school, really. Yeah, we had some good times out there. I missed that.
O.W. Dillon. I've got a sort of a childhood connection to O.W. Dillon. Had to be 1959 or 60, early 60s. O.W. Dillon still sponsored what was the fair for the blacks in Tangipahoa Parish. And the only place that we go and just be our folks. This particular day that I recall is just an indelible image in my mind as a child, as a young man. My parents didn't have enough money to send me to, give me to go to the fair and buy cotton candy and all the nicey things that they do, popcorn and drinks. And I had very little money, so I kind of, exited from where everybody was, and I started walking on what I found out later years that was O.W. Dillon's campus, the whole campus. And I came upon this building. It's the fall of the year, leaves are on the ground, and the chill is in the air, and it's nice. So I would walk by myself, get away from everybody. I didn't want to be embarrassed because I didn't have enough money. But I came upon this building, this white building, and it just grabbed me. Nobody told me anything about the past. I just knew there was O.W. Dillon, but didn't have as a child the connection with the history of that site. But I peeped into the building, trying to see if I could see something in there that made any sense. It just didn't connect. I just didn't understand it from where we were at that time in the United States and in education. When I got elected, and one of the first things that came to me, that was the alumni that was trying to get the name Kentwood Elementary at that now and then changed back to O.W. Dillon. Well, that's that snapshot that I had in my mind. That's that history that I locked in on, even though I had uncles and aunts that attend O.W. Dillon, but by the time that I came along, those persons have now they've built a school in Amite, which we know as Westside High School. So most of the blacks in the community were going to Westside. But when I got elected as a school board member, I had classmates. They wanted to get the name of their school back. Well, Westside did not change. Bless goodness, there was some, Dr. Mabry and others kind of led the move not to lose that history here in Amite. But the history of O.W. Dillon, as we go through time and find out, was so rich and came out of a period when they forced a way to get the children, young men and women in that community educated. But anyway, when my classmates and some of the ones that were on my campaign and helped me get elected, we want to get O.W. Dillon's name back. So it wasn't hard for me to get on that bandwagon. And when they did call me and talk to me, then we started a movement in the community and got a very good following of signatures to try to get the name of that school returned. Because it failed not because we didn't have an involvement. It failed because when we would take it to the courts, they would purge names. They had to be people that were registered voters. So they purged once, they purged twice, and finally the energy of the move just kind of failed. Well, now it's on my heart. I don't want to start anything and it die in my hand. So on one school board night evening, I had a talk with Tangipahoa Dillon, and there was a move to change. There was a move on his part to rename the stadium at Amite High School. And he asked me, he said, if you would support me in the renaming of the Amite High School stadium, I'll support you in changing the name of Kentwood Elementary back to O.W. Dillon. I said, well, okay, we got a deal.
I just think it's very important. Now, when I pass by the school out there now, I said, that's a landmark. My mother graduated from there in 1931. And of course, I have mentioned I finished in 1951. My oldest daughter taught school at that location. So to me, it's just a legacy that,
For generations, it's been in your family.
Yes, that's right. Oh, yes, by all means. My husband finished from there, 1955. He did his student teaching at the Tangipahoa Parish Training School under Mr. Harold Smith. And of course, he was a Southernite, and I became a Gramblinite.
That was the site that was chosen for Grambling before Grambling.
Yes, that's right. It was, they called it Teacher Training School. My mother was out there at that time, and some of my mother's sisters were out there when that was in operation.
So the school was totally segregated at that time.
Yes, it was. Okay. Some of the fun things. This is a little personal, but I had never had my hair with the hot comb in it. And I had gone to get my hair fixed and pressed. And we had a fun night one night. My classmate, Alton Smith, had one of these little water guns and just wet my hair up. That's a little kind of funny stuff I want to say. Okay, I don't know if there's anything here. Oh, something else happened I want to mention.
I want you to tell me about that prom dress.
Oh, about the prom. We had published a yearbook. My classmate worked in the office, and evidently she'd asked Mr. Dillon for one of his pictures, but he would not give it to her. So she just sneaked it out of the office and we put it in the yearbook. The junior senior prom was going to be soon coming up. And when Mr. Dillon saw the yearbook, he said, "You all cannot go to the prom."
I remember when I was a little girl going to the school, walking and waiting for her to arrive. I heard that she was coming and they were selling tickets, and I knew I couldn't afford a ticket to go in and see her. So I walked to the gym that day and I waited until she arrived. And that was a joyous occasion to see her get out of that car. And they laid a carpet down for her to walk in. And I remember her walking into the gym, but I had pushed my way to the front. There was others there standing there watching her, but I pushed my way to the front, and I'll never forget, I had a very good view. And just seeing her step out of that car, because you couldn't see inside the car. You couldn't see her until she got out. And he laid down a carpet and she walked in the gym of O.W. Dillon High. I never forget.
Did you listen to her sing outside the door, or could you get in?
No, I couldn't get in, so I didn't wait around to see her come out. I saw her go in. Okay, I think I was in high school when the drama department came from Grambling College at that time, and they presented a play. And I do recall so vividly, the name of the play was The Book, the Bell, and the Candle. And that inspired me to want to go to Grambling. And I was granted that opportunity to go there and to work and be a part of the drama club and the speech department, where I earned my BA degree.
You was inspired from just one?
Yes, from one trip, just seeing them there doing that play. And the name just stuck. The Bell, the Book, the Candle. And Mr. Williams was the director, and I got a chance to work under him once I went to Grambling. It was a great experience. We don't get to school, you know, we can have the legacy going, keep the legacy going, keep the name going, you know, even if we don't get the building. A building is just a building. You could have washed away in this flood that we have here, but if it did, at least we'd have the legacy going on, and we want to keep it going on.